Taking you through a very interesting news from Bengaluru. If you're Bengalurian, this will disturb you. Bengaluru's traffic is the stuff of legends and not in a good way. It takes the average Bengalurians 34 minutes to crawl just 10 kilometers. In a year, that's 100 hours lost in peak hour delays and a staggering 117 hours just being stuck, doing nothing, bumper to bumper traffic. Despite new roads, flyovers and ever-changing one-ways, the gridlock in Bengaluru refuses to go. Now the Karnataka government has crunched some hard numbers to back what we've all been living through. According to the state's latest motor vehicle registration data, there's been a steady rise across all categories over the last 4 years in vehicles. As of Feb 2025, Karnataka has over 3.3 crore registered vehicles. They've basically gone up from just a little over 2.7 crores in March 2021. So barely 2.5 years or 3 years, we're looking at nearly 1 crore increase in vehicles in Bengaluru. No wonder the kind of traffic crunch. Bengaluru alone accounts for 1.2 crore of them, where basically that was an overall Karnataka data that I shared with you. Now, we're looking at the registered vehicles that are being reported in Karnataka. What's choking the roads the most here is two-wheelers. Their numbers have jumped from 66.7 lakh in March 2021 to 82.4 lakh by Feb 2025. That's a spike of 23.5% in just 4 years. And then we're looking at two-wheelers. 66.7 lakh Feb 2025 registered two-wheelers rose to 82.4 lakhs. That's an increase by 23.5%. Even cars have surged, up by 21% from 20.8 lakh to 25.2 lakh. So there you have it. We're looking at an increase in registrations of cars and bikes in Karnataka, Bengaluru facing the worst. What does this tell about Bengaluru as a city? Its rising vehicle count is clearly tied to a growing middle-class population, increased purchasing power, even amid global economic uncertainty. Well, wishing Bengaluru well and happy for the success, but what are you going to do if you're stuck in traffic for as many hours? How are you actually going to bring out productivity? But here's the core issue. Where do we go from here? Is there a proper public transport system that can help ease Bengaluru's congestion? That's the big question here. How do we ease congestion when vehicles far outpace infrastructure itself? Why does the city still lack efficient public transport alternatives despite repeated promises? And what will it really take to reclaim our roads and our time? Remember, in a global survey, it's very clearly shown that Bengaluru is number 3 in the world when it comes to slowest cities. And number 1 seems to be Kolkata. Joining me here is Rajkumar Dugar, founder and convener, Citizens for Bengaluru. Thanks very much, sir. Ashish Verma, convener, IISC, Sustainable Transportation Lab, for joining us on this. Rajkumar Dugar, your take on Bengaluru being the 3rd slowest city in the globe. How does that make you feel?
Thanks, Nabila. I don't think it is achievement to be proud of because we have the dubious distinction of having almost as many vehicles as there are number of people in the city. So the solution is to reduce the rate of growth of both population as well as the number of vehicles with the goal of filling the roads to improve quality of life.
You know, Ashish Verma, your take on this quickly on Bengaluru being the 3rd slowest city in the globe, a very distinct brand that we've now had slapped on us. I count myself in. I have a vehicle in Bengaluru too. But what really is the solution?
Yeah, thanks, Nabila. It's good to join your show after a long time.
Yeah.
I remember, used to attend your sessions in your previous avatar.
Right.
So nothing surprising as to what the Bangalore situation is with respect to traffic, and its dubious rank as among the most traffic congested cities. It's mostly because of the misplaced priority and a lack of understanding of how do you balance out the travel demand to be taken by different modes in the right share of trips being taken by different modes in a way that everybody is happy in terms of their needs of travel being met. What this really means is what Bangalore needs is a combination of push and pull measures, which is technically we would call it as push measures, basically to see that you discourage ownership and use of personal vehicles to an extent that the public transport, walking, cycling, the modes that we want to encourage people to use becomes more and more attractive. Ideally, for current population and size and density, Bangalore, should have at least 80% of their daily trips happening on public transport, walking, cycling, and rest 20% on other modes. When you have such a equilibrium, you'll then see that everybody is happy in terms of their travel needs being satisfied with reasonable level of service. At the same time, you'll also reach a equilibrium where the traffic congestion will not be seen generally on the road. And you'll also have lesser tailpipe emissions and other, externalities like, air pollution happening from tailpipe emissions and so on. So we have to reach Bengaluru towards that state of equilibrium, and which means that you need right kind of policy and interventions of infrastructure that would nudge 80% of trips happening on public transport, walking, cycling. Then only you'll see Bengaluru become more sustainable and livable in terms of how mobility system is and how well people feel happy and their quality of life improves. Back to you.
Raj, if you're with me and your connection is back, all right, we seem to have lost Raj's connection. But just on a global platform, when we're looking at Bengaluru being the IT city, Silicon Valley, you have the best of startups in the city. You have literally the best infrastructure and technology that one can imagine India has located in Bengaluru. Why are we not finding a solution to traffic woes? Is it just all to do with city's infrastructure, that it's not robust enough? Is there no other solution to this?
No. So, in recent time, we have been taking some parallel from Singapore and some tunnels in Singapore that people think that they are really serving proper purpose there. And we are trying to imitate that solution by proposing a lot of tunnel roads in Bengaluru. But that's a very, false impression that we have. If you compare Singapore and Bangalore on some key indicators, and just want to, give you an idea. Singapore's GDP per capita annual is about 84,000 US dollars per capita, whereas India on an average is about 2,600, 2,700 GDP per capita in US dollar terms. It's like average annual income per capita. Okay, so there is a huge difference. But if you see the car ownership, the cars owned per thousand population in Singapore, it's just 120 cars per thousand population, whereas Bangalore is already at 165 cars per thousand population. You have already shown the total numbers, how they are increasing. But if you normalize it with population, we are already above Singapore, whereas their standard of living is way beyond us. Here we keep saying that, oh, people are getting wealthier, so they'll buy cars, they'll have, earlier they had one car or no car, now they are having 2, 3 cars. But what measures Singapore has done to control not just the ownership, they have actually freezed the number of vehicles in the country. It's just around 9 lakh vehicles, which has remained same from 2014 till today. It has not changed.
Transport system.
Sorry? So they have not, so what they've done is they have created something called a certificate of entitlement. So every year they see how many vehicles have scrapped, how many more vehicles we can add so that the number remains same, roughly at 9 lakhs. Okay, so they give the certificate of entitlement, which you have to pay to earn it. Only then you are eligible to buy a new vehicle, a new car. On the top of that, just for initial 10 years of tax, just like how we pay lifetime tax, which is about 10% or so here, there you pay 100,000, that is 1 lakh Singapore dollars, just for initial 10 years of tax, which is in Indian rupees roughly about 60 lakhs. So if you're buying a car of 10 lakhs, you will actually pay 70 lakhs to buy a new car. Okay. So that's a complex story which we don't see in Singapore. And we don't realize that because of these measures, and public transport being so accessible and affordable.
Correct.
80% of trips in Singapore happen on public transport, in spite of their annual GDP level is at 84,000. We are just at 2700. So it's a complete misunderstanding of what we should be doing here as
Right.
compared to what they have done.
Yeah, Raj, I have your connection back, but I'm short on time. A final word from you on what's the best solution you could think of. Of course, public transport has to better itself. The government has to make this more robust, especially last mile connectivity. But what can we do as citizens?
Well, as a concerned citizen, I would say that the goal is to free the roads, and that is possible by first improving walkability, cyclability, and of course, as you mentioned, public transport. In that, we need at least double the number of buses that we have at present, with lots of small e-buses to ensure very good comprehensive feeder services. And in the metro, also, we need faster work, and the metro has to go out and go to the suppliers and get the trains first, because they have corridors ready and no trains. And suburban rail, the public representatives unfortunately are not taking much interest. And one of the game changers would be the airport corridor of the suburban train, which is not yet taken off. The work is not started. We also need good drainage systems so that the flooding reduces, and better traffic management, and also quality of roads, because we have varying the widths of roads and the quality, workmanship, and such things. So we have to discourage private vehicles, and that is not possible by adding to the road infrastructure. More roads, wider roads, elevated roads, tunnel roads. All these are not going to help Bangalore. It's going to make things worse. So we need to focus on, like I said, walkability, cyclability, public transport, and better drainage systems.
Yeah.
And of course, a good, robust parking policy.
Well, we're keeping our fingers crossed with the best technology in place that's all located in Bengaluru. I'm sure someone will come up with a solution soon enough. But to start with, we're going to follow your cues here. Thanks very much, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.